they don't get branding either. They think brands is I pick out some colors, I pick out some fonts, I went to Canva, I got a palette, and I'm good. Ta-da. And they don't really understand that a brand is supposed to capture the personality, their personality.
Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelak. Thank you for listening to the show. I would love if you could give us your opinion on how you felt about the show, your experience that you have in regards to what we've been talking about. I am having an absolute blast, but your input is like dynamite on that explosion. So give us your input. We'd love to hear from you. Any questions, comments, concerns? Give us everything you got. We love it. Thanks. I hope you're having an awesome day. Welcome to the Business Ownership Podcast, brought to you by Awareness Strategies, helping you navigate the waters between entrepreneurship and ownership. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelak, and I'm super glad that you're here with us today because I'm here with my most amazing guest, Laura. Laura, thank you so much for being here with us today.
You know what? I am so happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, and so excited to be able to talk to some of your listeners.
Yeah. So give everybody the highlight of who you are and what you do for business.
Sure. I am Laura Hulleman. I am the creator of the Endotype Formula, which is a personality profiling assessment. And with that, I do identity aligned branding. So helping small business owners to be able to understand marketing, understand the branding elements, get on track and aligned with who they are so that they attract more clients. It's easier to close the sales and they don't feel like imposters inside of their marketing.
Yahoo! Finally.
So, yeah, exactly.
Before I ask you 10,000 questions about that, let's back up the bus a little bit. How did you get into personality typing in marketing as your thing?
Like, it's been a long and windy road. Which of my 7 careers would you like to know about? There's a book by Elizabeth Gilbert called Big Magic, and she talks about in that it's the creative process, that sometimes there are ideas that are ready to be born into this world and they find somebody who's crazy and courageous enough to keep saying yes. I loved personality assessments because it helped me to understand other people. It's helped me to communicate and to be a coach, to sell better. And so I had some of my favorites, but there was always like kind of a gap in the market. And it was myself and another personality type junkie that started like, mine's better. And from those conversations started to be identified the gaps that were there, and also then the places where there was overlap. And there were so many amazing researchers that each had a piece of the puzzle that has become the Endotype Formula. I just could see where they connected to make a whole picture of a person. And as far as branding and marketing, I don't have any right to be in this space except for the fact that it works. I suspected for a long time that the personality assessment predicted personal brands. But I couldn't stand in that because I'm not a graphic designer, didn't have a background in branding other than running many small businesses during the course of my life. But after talking with enough branding professionals and graphic designers, and then watching so many of my small business owner friends go through the brand process with great branding professionals, and it would take a long time, lots of surveying, Pinterest boards were involved, and there were so many things. By the end of the 2-month, 3-month long branding process, they came up with the brand concept that I would have predicted for them after they took my 4-question assessment and knowing a little bit about their business. So I knew I had something, and it was, again, that idea was like, I'm ready to come into this world. Let's go. And so we created the identity aligned branding process.
I love it. And I think it's funny that you say right to be in this industry. I'm thinking anybody who can pinpoint a problem and identify a solution within about 5 seconds is the exact one that needs to be. It's the ones that are taking 6 years to do the thing, to get to somewhere, to cogitate about it. And, it just drives me crazy when they're like, oh, and this is going to take 6 years for you to figure out. And it's like, no, it could take about 5 seconds, actually.
Right. And, and I think my perspective on branding was really unique, which has allowed me to create this really unique pathway towards personal branding because I came from small business.
Right.
So I am looking at it from much more of the consumer's point of view than from the designers. I didn't go to design school and learn the traditional model of branding, so I had nothing to unlearn.
Right.
And can just see the challenges that exist between the branding professional and creatives and those small business owners that they serve. I can see it from a unique perspective.
Nice. Well, oftentimes I can look at somebody's stuff and go, okay, that's not working. May not know why, but I know that's not working.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into your methodology, what do you see as kind of the biggest problems that are happening in the industry when it comes to personal branding? Because let's back up the bus. I think a lot of people don't understand that it's about personal branding yet. They're still business identifying. So talk to me about, and feel free to go down whatever rabbit holes.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. From the perspective of the small business owners, a lot of them got into this work because they have a passion or they made a great widget. They know a lot about this thing that they do or sell. They don't understand marketing. And so they don't get branding either. They think brands is I pick out some colors, I pick out some fonts, I went to Canva, I got a palette, and I'm good. Ta-da. And they don't really understand that a brand is supposed to capture the personality, their personality, and then through design, throw that out into the universe so that their clients are like, oh, I love this vibe. I love this energy. So that's the small business owner's challenge. And then they have this hard time being able to stay consistent, even after they're given their brand information, because they just don't get it. It's hard for them to stay on track. For the creatives, they have learned a form of traditional branding, corporate branding, where you start with who's the audience, who's the customer that we want to attract. What do those customers like? What are the brand values that they would be attracted to? Let's create a brand persona, and then we'll create the branding. What they don't understand is that small business owners come with a brand persona. Like they have a personality already. And so utilizing that traditional model where we look external first, and they end up with beautiful, creative, artistic brands. But when they're not in alignment with the person, then there's not an ROI for that individual. So small business owners experience a large amount of frustration when it comes to branding and marketing, because so much of the time they can't see that ROI. They go through this, they spend so much time, so much energy, so much money, and they don't see their clientele grow. Because when it's out of alignment, not just inconsistent across the platforms, but when it's out of alignment with the energy of the person, then their customers aren't purchasing and the branding just doesn't work. So a new model needs to take place. And there are a lot of creatives and brand professionals in the industry that are trying to develop their own systems that include a whole lot of surveys. And let me get into this person's mind. And here's a worksheet. And, like what's on the bedside table of your ideal client? What radio station do they listen to? I have no idea. And that's one of the big problems is when we're relying on information from the small business owner, we are limited by that small business owner's self-awareness. And we're not real great at that. So when we can have a system that removes their decision-making, right? It's not about what they think their business is about, what they think their brand is about, but it aligns with who they really are and the energy they bring to the business. It creates a lot clearer path to that personal brand.
Nice. I love it. So what are the foundations of your typing? And so like there's 4 types and they do this, that, and the other thing. What does that kind of look like?
Yeah. So we break the brands down into those Jungian brand archetypes. So for us, there are 12 brand archetypes. We start with the Endotype Formula quiz. It's a 4-question assessment. Do you think more like this, more like that? And out of those 4 questions, the simplicity makes it really easy for the clients to want to take. But here's what we know so much. And they get their profile and they're like, you're like living inside my head right now because of how our system works. I now know before that person hops on a call, if I know that they are a visionary endotype, I know they're one of 3 brand personalities. And so on that first call, I am listening for the energy that they're doing business with. Are they bringing that authoritarian energy in? Are they bringing collaborative energy in? Are they bringing that like super kind, squishy, supportive energy in? Because that influences the brand. Then I can show that small business owner their brand on the very first call. I can show them visuals and some information about it. And that person goes, that's me. That's who I am. So they identify with it and they can visually understand the concept of their brand on call number 1, which they don't experience with other brand creatives and graphic designers. Normally it's give me money. Okay, let's talk. And then after a week, 2, 3, a month, I'll develop a concept for you to be able to take a look at. And by that point, the person is on dealing with the other, 1,000 fires that that they're putting out every day with their small business. They're like, yeah, okay, whatever. But when they can see their business right up front, it gets to the yes a whole lot quicker also for the creatives.
Nice. So when it comes to the businesses that you're working with, does it suit a different kind of industry more so than others? How does that all work?
Yeah, it is definitely for small business owners. So either solopreneurs or those businesses that still kind of have that face of the individual. Right now, I'm working with somebody who is an oral myofascial therapist, right? She's working with all the muscles in the face, and she has a lot of people working for her in her clinic. She's about to open a second clinic location, but she's still the main face of the business. So the identity aligned branding, we can still brand based on who she is because she's that point of contact that most people are going to get. When it gets into, more corporate branding, my brand process doesn't work as well. That's where we need to go back to that more traditional model of who do we want to buy buy this product or service. So it doesn't really matter whether it's a service-based or a product-based company, as long as there's still a face of the brand for that small business.
Nice. Well, let's use us as an example because I think it's prime example is that I'm the creative director of the company. So I'm out there, I'm loud, I'm obnoxious, all wonderful things you expect from a creative director, but it's a tech company. So it creates a huge conundrum for people going like, I don't know if you're that good at tech. You kind of going. And then if we go to the tech side of things, they meet me and they're like, you don't seem like you run a tech company. So like, how do you deal with that conundrum of the different personality versus the personality of the business? Because I'm assuming the same thing's going to happen with plumbers and lawyers and anybody.
So, you said you're kind of loud, you're kind of obnoxious. Your words, not mine.
I'm totally okay with it. It's not a good day until somebody calls me.
But you're right. But you have like this sparky, fun energy. You strike me as a little bit of like somebody who's just going to be real straight shooter and be like, no, that's dumb. Don't do that. Let's do it this way. Maybe breaking and bending some rules a little bit. That can all be captured in a brand essence. And then that essence needs to go through all of it. So I don't mean personal branding as in like Kim Kardashian, she is the representative where you have to be on all the branding. We take the personality, we find the colors, we find the design style, and we capture that energy and explain that energy of maybe you're the maverick brand leader. What does that mean? how does that influence the copy that you write? What words should you use more often as the maverick rather than not? So how can we take this energy of you, put it into the marketing so that if they go on your website and then they have an appointment with you, they're like, oh, this is exactly who I thought I'd be sitting down with. This doesn't surprise me at all. Or if vice versa, they meet you because of one of your podcasts, they meet you because of your public speaking that you do, and then they go check out the website and they're like, totally makes sense. Because anytime our personal energy and our marketing content don't match, that's where there's a client attrition point, because the potential clients go, am I in the right place here? This is like, there's something here that's weird, and weird registers as untrustworthy, and so it drops off. So when it comes to personal branding, sometimes people are right. Like, I work with a lot of coaches because that's an industry that I came from. There's a lot of pictures of the coaches that I work with on their website and in their marketing. But I also worked with a real estate agent who was like, I don't want to be like all me in my marketing. So we took her energy and found the images that she needed to use to be able to represent her brand more effectively.
Nice. I love it. So when it comes to, there's just one more thing kind of that scenario I want to look at is, I know there's companies that have like the owner of the company, and then they have the voice of the company, because they go, okay, I am clearly not going to be, that personal and everything. And it might not make sense. Like, they're not going to be putting out the copy. They're not going to do the webinars. They're not going to do the thing. And they have a voice of the company. In that instance, would you look at it more of a traditional kind of marketing where, okay, we got to look at the business itself, or is it still kind of looking at the voice of the company and going from there?
I think it would be on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
It depends on how far removed they are from their clients. So, I don't know who the CEO of Coke is, but I know what the brand of Coke feels like. The soda, not the powder. So it depends on how far removed they are from that. Whereas you can be still that face and that have that energy of the business based on you, and not do your own copy, not do your own webinars, but it still has your energy and your essence to it. Because otherwise it just doesn't connect well. It doesn't make sense for it. Right. And it starts to feel like not your company anymore a little bit. So,
and I've said that in the last, call it 10, maybe stretching to 20 years, but definitely in the last 10 years, this personal branding has become an industry-wide, or a commerce-wide thing, let's call it that. Because Coca-Cola started back in the 1800s or whenever it started, it was all about the business, and nobody's ever known really who ran it, and nobody cared. Whereas the Amazon, the Microsoft, the Apple, everybody knows who those individuals are. And I think it's just kind of a sign of the times as opposed to their egos, because I think we know, we have that transparency with businesses. We know who's running them. We want to know what the values are of the CEO, to see how that translates through their operations, through how they treat their team, their company. What's the culture? When I go into the store, I want to know that emulates throughout the whole thing. I want to feel Elon Musk when I buy a Tesla. If I were to buy a Tesla, it's a different way of doing business right now. And I think people need to understand this so much better than they do. Because
I agree, because I'm seeing too many, one of the first questions you had talked about is like industry style branding. I'm seeing too many brand professionals that are still basing color palettes and design styles on the industry. As a little experiment at one point for one of the presentations I was doing, I went to one of the small towns nearby me. It probably has 15, 20,000 people. And I looked up chiropractic. And I took screenshots of websites, and the colors of chiropractic must be blue, tan, and green. Kind of those healing, professional, doctory colors. Because out of the like 12 chiropractic places, there was 2 that didn't rely heavily on those colors. Then if you put them on a page altogether, I don't know which clinic is which. There's no differentiation. They all feel exactly the same. And I'm sure when you go to them, they feel different, but the branding is not reflecting that, which is a problem for the consumer and a problem for that business owner. So yeah, we have to stop branding industry. We have to stop doing brand concepts for small business pulling out of the ether.
Mhm.
And we really have to look at that identity aligned branding.
Nice. So you teased us with the rebel and a few other concepts. Tease us with some more of just so people can identify and go, oh yeah, I don't do
Sure.
that in my business. I need to.
Sure, absolutely. So for instance, inside the endotype formula, there is there are quadrants, and some of the endotypes are very action oriented, right? So these are the people that personality wise, they learn through doing. So they do before they have the concept in mind. They're putting together the plane as it's in the air. Then there are other people who need the information up front. They're the researchers, they're the figure out people, they're the let me figure this out. In terms of that, if you look at the authoritarian brand for here's this action oriented person over here, and the authoritarian brand for this, like, let me figure it out first, it's the difference between the ruler, follow me, I know what I'm doing, I have the solutions, I know how to make tough choices, I am in the process of building something amazing, follow me. And the sage, listen to me, I have the answers. Please, let's learn the concept. Let's figure this out, and we're going to move forward after we learn. That's going to attract different types of clientele. And so, right? So are we back to let's look at who we want to attract? No. Because if I'm the sage, then I want to work with clients who like the fact that I'm a sage, as opposed to that action-oriented ruler. It's a completely different vibe of person. So it has to become a different vibe of brand style. So within each of them, there's these, different concepts of, is it that authoritarian? Is it that because in that same quadrant of the information oriented, where the sage lives, if they're offering that really soft, nurturing kind of wisdom, it's okay. That becomes the innocent and the Pollyanna optimist. Like, everything's going to be great. Let's just talk about this a little bit first. And it becomes a different kind of energy. And then the design goes from there to capture that energy and pull it into the business.
I love it. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you about a Cinderella story of one of your clients. Before we do that, we're going to take a bit of a break.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.
So I am super excited to hear about a Cinderella story of one of your clients.
Yeah. One of my clients, Kate Carter, she is a fantastic coach. And she didn't come from a coaching background. She had a little theology background, a little teaching background, but she had decided she was going to become a coach. And in the coaching industry, it can be really hard to launch that business because a lot of people don't understand coaching. So Kate came to me as she was starting to put together her business concept, and we did her brand right up front. She is a nurturer brand, so she has that soft, supportive energy, but she also has, because of her teaching background, she has a little bit of that authoritarian, right? A little bit of that, like, now class, sit down. So we modified her brand to be able to capture that too. We chose the story she wanted to tell, and we put together her brand activation formula, which helped her then build the website, social media, PowerPoints, do all the things that she needed to do. And in the first year that she had her coaching business open, she had completely filled up all of her one-on-one spaces.
Nice.
So from a coaching background, any of the coaches that are listening probably understand that's pretty amazing results for her. And she just kept drawing in those people that really wanted to experience her style of coaching. It was very simple for her to put together and to outsource to the website and the social media and the outsourced people and still remain on track. So I love that for Kate, and so many of the other people can see that immediate little boost as they implement their brand activation formula.
I love it. So if somebody is looking at the marketing and they're finding it's ineffective, if they are kind of not getting the amount of clients they want, what other kind of symptoms or problems might somebody have? What are they struggling with? That they're going, oh, Laura, we need you so bad.
Yep. If you are, I did a consultation the other day. The lady has a marketing company that does DIY for her, and she's got eyes all over her stuff, subscribers to the YouTube channel, thousands of readers on her Medium articles, and she's 10% full in her client load. And I was like, there's something wrong, friend. I said, because, right, can you sell? How's your closing ratio when you get them on a call? And she said, oh, I have a 60% closing ratio. There's a problem. And it was her branding. There's a disconnect in her branding between, oh, I watched this video, I love the content. Am I in the right place when they hit her website to schedule the call? So if you're finding, right, this part works, but we're not closing the sales, that can be a branding problem. If your sales cycles take a long time, so people lean in, they're interested in what you have to offer, and then they stalk you or they're around for months and months before they make that purchase, they don't trust you. And branding creates trust. So that can be a big symptom that your brand is out of alignment. And then there's the visual test. Open up your computer screen and put your website in one corner, and open up your 2 or 3 social medias and put them all on the same screen, and just look with new eyes. Do these look and feel the same? Because if they don't, then your brand is disconnected and it's probably not aligned with you either. So it may be time to update.
So I know our listeners are going to want more from you. How did they start that journey with you?
Yeah, the best first step is always to go to take the quiz. If you go to endotype.com, you can take our 4-question assessment. You're going to see your profile. And if we know who you are, then know that we know your brand also. And from there, you can set up a call with myself or one of our other licensed branding professionals.
Nice. Well, I know I'm excited to go there, but peeps, scroll down in the show notes. We will, of course, have all of Laura's links there, and open up in a new browser because we're not done yet. So, Laura, I get to ask you, at what point in life did you know you were special, kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
I started my first business at 17 and a half years old, and I have not worked well with others ever since. So I've tried to have some jobs, but yeah, it was pretty early on that I knew I wanted the freedom to be able to not be told what to wear.
Right. So out of curiosity, what was that occupation that you went into? What did you do?
Yeah, I started a cleaning business. I started a cleaning and janitorial business at like 17, 18 years old. I've also done upholstery. I've done mortgages. I've been a makeup artist. I'm telling you, I've had the careers. but kind of settled in now in this second half of my life, and I think I'm going to be doing Endotype Formula for a good long time.
Right. Well, and I do think that diversity helps to make a good coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking from my own experience, going, I can relate to almost anybody in almost any industry, and going, yeah, totally get it. Done there, done that, been there.
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. You have been absolutely awesome. Any last words for our peeps?
No, I just thank you so much for being on, and invite everybody to really evaluate whether or not that brand is actually working for them.
Nice. Love it. Absolutely. So thank you for being here with us today. I appreciate your time, and I know how valuable it is.
Thanks.
Peeps, this is Michelle Nedelec. Thank you for being here with us today. Be sure to subscribe to the show, share it with your friends. We love helping entrepreneurs grow.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.